lean forward towards me. Lean forward. Bring your toes to your butt. Keep pushing your arms in the ground. Look at you doing crow. Good job. High five. Yes.
Wait, let me.
Hello. Welcome to Leslie Yoga. This is my 10th, yes, that's right, 10th video, and to celebrate 10, we're gonna do 10 crows. Does that mean we're gonna do 10 crows in a row that are exactly the same? Of course not. That would be ridiculous. We're gonna do different types of crows, and we're gonna play and see how some might feel easier in our bodies while some feel completely impossible. And there might even be crows that I try today that I fall right on my face for because I'm challenging myself in different ways. That's the great thing about yoga. We're always trying to make the pose a little bit more challenging for our bodies. So when you're a beginner, every pose is ridiculous, right? And you're building all these new neural pathways in your mind, and it's exciting and fun. And to continue that feeling, we challenge ourselves with increasingly difficult poses. So we're gonna start with some easier crows and build ourselves up to the ones that are super challenging, okay? So let's begin. We're gonna start on our back because we can all do this one, right? So typically, crow is a hand balance, correct? So before we begin, we'll start on our back. And I have a block in case you have one. I bring one too because it's gonna be nice and useful in the future. And we're gonna sit here and go into happy baby pose. Grabbing onto the outside edges of our feet. And if it feels okay, maybe swaying side to side. Opening up the hips. And then come to stillness wherever you are. And for this happy baby, while pulling down on the outside edges of your feet, see if you can bring the knees down closer to the ground just a little bit more. But in the same time, allowing the tailbone, instead of lifting it up high, drawing the tailbone down, 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 so it's in connection with your mat. Let's take a few more breaths here into the nose. Audible sigh, exhale. One more. Beautiful. Drawing your knees into your chest, arms around the shins. And so this is called a crow crunch. It's an upside down crow. And the way it begins is we sort of come into that happy baby pose again, but instead of having our feet up, we draw our toes together, okay? And then we lift the head and the shoulders and allow the arms to reach for the sky. So you can sort of see this upside down crow here. To make it more crow-like, we draw the knees into the arms. Maybe they touch on the insides of the triceps. I like them squeezing around my arms. And then if you want a little bit extra, draw the hips up. So hips, head, and shoulders are lifted. The low back, mid back is pushing down to the ground, and we're breathing here. And then we reach our arms and legs long. And then exhale back into your crow, inverted crow. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do 10 of these. Can you feel the burn already? Whew, I sure can. The more you can lift your hips in your crow crunch, the deeper you'll feel this in the low abs. 3 more. Last one. And hold here for 5. We'll lift the hips a little harder, higher. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Oh my goodness. Feet together, knees go wide, reclined butterfly. Maybe bring your hands to your belly to feel all the heat that you just created. And then drawing your knees into your chest, rocking yourself forwards and backwards. Until we come all the way up to a seat. And now we're gonna come into our second crow. And this is gonna be a malasana crow. And so I like to bring the block underneath my sit bones into this low squat. Now, if this is still too deep for you, feel free to draw the block up slightly, either onto the medium or highest setting. Whatever feels natural in your hip opening. Hands together, knees pushing in to your arms while your arms are equally pushing into your knees. Whew. Okay. So once again, our knees are wide and our hips are open. So we're sort of in a squatted crow. And to feel more of a crow in malasana, we reach our arms forward and then round the spine, squeezing the knees towards the triceps. And then coming back up. Okay, so notice when you're in that malasana crow, how it feels in between the rib cage and the hips. Notice all the activation going on there. Because when we're on our hands balancing in crow, we really want to engage the abs. Oftentimes I'll see the students' hips really low, and I know when that happens, they're using mostly their upper body strength. But to help you float and actually feel like you're floating in crow, you want to use these muscles here, all around. The back, hip flexors, core. The core is it all, okay? So let's try it again. Coming into your low squat, it's supported on the block, and then reach yourself forward, bending the spine, maybe looking down at the ground. Really, really squeeze the knees in, and then come back up. Let's do that one more time. Reaching forward, hunching the spine, maybe bending the elbows here, halfway, and then reaching long arms, bending and reaching. Bend one more time and reach down, touch the ground, lift the hips enough to move the block out of the way, and come down to our knees. Okay. Crow number 3. Baby crow. So we've done a little bit of hip openings already with a happy baby. And for often, many people, baby crow is a pose that they can do, whereas crow on our hands is much more difficult. And I find this to be the case if you've had wrist injuries in the past, or maybe you have some early onset arthritis type of feelings. So give it a try and see what happens. The best thing about baby crow is your face is so close to the ground that a lot of the fear of falling is taken away. So bringing your hands down to the ground and our elbows, we're down into a forearm. We're gonna come back into that low squat, the malasana position. And just like we were doing before, we're reaching our hands, we come down to the forearms, leaning our weight forward. So you can go into that crow version we just did with malasana, this time without the block, right? No block beneath us. Roll up our heels, leaning our weight forward, taking our knees towards our triceps, and leaning forward, forward, forward. Maybe our head touches the ground. And then we roll ourselves back to the malasana squat. Okay, let's try it again. Maybe this time we'll be able to float instead of letting our forehead touch the ground. Reach the hands forward, lean forward, bend the elbows, forearms drop down to the ground, lift the hips slightly, knees rest on the arms. See if you can keep pushing the forearms into the ground to spread the lower or the shoulder blades, and then maybe you lift the toes for 3. Keep drawing the toes toward your butt for 2. Can you straighten the triceps a little bit? 1. Exhale, back into your malasana. Whew. Baby crow. How'd you do? Okay. Let's go into our next crow. Crow number 4. And that's going to be our regular crow. Before we go into that, we're going to do a little bit of wrist work. So rolling our wrist here, switching direction. Bringing our hands down to the ground with our fingertips pointing towards our knees, beginning to lean back. So besides needing a nice and warmed up core with our abs and open hips, we also want to have flexible wrists, because if they're super tight, it's scary to balance all of our weight on our hands when we have all that tightness. Because a trick about crow isn't just lifting our lower body and balancing on our arms, it's leaning the weight forward. And so the more flexibility and comfortability we have in our forearms, the easier it is to access our bakasana, our crow pose. Okay, that feels nice and open. Do a few more wrist circles here. Shake, shake, shake. So for this first crow, I'm gonna bring a block, like I'm a little baby bird. I'm gonna place it right here. And now I'm perching on my branch. Okay, this way, I don't feel like I have to be quite as flexible in my hips, and my hips are already lifted quite high. Now I'm bringing my hands down, about shoulder distance apart. I have my index fingers versus my wrist creases, so my index fingers are pointing forward. Once I have those down, I start to bring weight forward into the heels of my hand, begin to lift the hips, and allow my knees to fall along the upper arm. And then I lean my weight forward, lean my weight forward. I'm drawing my fingers, clenching and clawing the ground, and just learning how to balance on my hands here with my toes still on the block. And then exhale, shifting my weight back onto the block again, wrist circles. And this time, if I felt kind of stable, I'm gonna bring my hands back down once again, lift the hips, and begin to draw the shoulders forward over my fingertips. I draw them so far forward, I'm eventually able to lift my toes and draw them towards my sit bones for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, feet might find my perch again. Wrist circles. You'll notice I do wrist circles a lot when I play with arm balances. Okay, let's do that one more time, and we'll see if we can get a little more air time. So if your feet are still perched, try to lift one foot at a time. Both hands come back down. It's okay to claw the ground. This is your foot now. It makes contact with the earth. Lift the hips. Shoulders draw forward. Chest draws forward. Look out 5 feet in front of you. Maybe your right toes lift. Maybe your left toes lift. And squeeze. 3. Are we breathing? 2. 1. Exhale. Awesome job. How'd you do? Let me know in the comments below. Okay. That is our regular crow. How many left? A lot more. We're coming into number 5. Side crow. This could count as 5 and 6 because we do crow on each side. So to do a side crow, we want to bring ourselves into a twisted low squat. So you can either draw both arms over to one side, or hands can come together and then twist. Twist the elbow over the outer thigh. Bring both hands down. Both hands come down to the ground. We lift the hip so that back hip can rest on the upper arm in the back. One arm supports the knee, the other arm supports the hip. Lift the hip, lean sideways, looking towards the front of the room or wherever you are. So if you do fall on your head, you won't smack your nose, right? If you fall, you'll come here. Whoa, push myself back up and exhale. Okay, let's try it on the other side. Maybe coming into Anjali Mudra, Heart Mudra, twisting your body so the elbow goes to the outer thigh. If that doesn't work, bring both arms down and keep reaching and twisting, maybe shimmying your stomach out of the way. Hands come down, hip to arm, knee to arm, lift, lean, lift, lean, lift. Keep leaning. Your toes will eventually float. Claw the ground for 3, 2, 1. Come back down. Yes, let's come to a seat. Take a few breaths. For this wrist circle, we're gonna grab onto our forearm and twist the palm. Switch hands. Bring your 4 fingers, bend them back, switch, shake, shake, shake. Okay. Now we're gonna go back into our crow pose. And if you notice the first time, my elbows were bent a heck of a lot. So now we're starting to get into more of the advanced crow poses since we're getting to the final 5. If you're feeling like those 5 are already challenging enough, feel free to press pause and replay again right now or whenever you're ready. Otherwise, let's continue on. So for this next pose, we want to work on having as straight as arms as possible. So what we're going to do, and I've heard different philosophies, you can either start with straight arms and have your knees in your armpits, which means you have to have super open hips, or you bring your knees as high up your arm as possible and then begin to lean forward while also straightening your arms. So I'm going to try that version first. I'm getting my knees as high, so you can see I'm lifting my heels to get my knees up into my armpits as much as I can, and then I lean my weight forward, lean my weight forward. Once my feet float off the ground, I begin to draw my shoulders forward, chest forward, and straighten the elbows as much as I can. This is about it for me. And I'm gonna take it 2 more breaths to keep straightening. Woo! There we go. Yes, that is a doozy. That is a straight arm crow. So my forearms needed to be even more open there. I can feel a stretch there. So I'm gonna once again stretch it out, taking any variation of stretches that work for you before moving on to crow number 7. They're called crow taps. Bringing your hands down, finding your way into your crow pose. At this point, hopefully you have a pretty solid crow. I don't recommend trying crow taps unless you feel comfortable in crow and you can hold it for like 10 breaths or so. And once you feel nice there, you take your toes and try to hit your forearm. And then draw the foot back up. And then take the other foot, toes to forearm. Draw the arm back up and switch. And drop. And just do so many of those that it becomes easy, right? Woo! Oh my knee. I feel like I'm gonna be super red-faced in this video. Okay. So my wrists are getting progressively tired. Bringing my hands to the outside of my knees. And then beginning to draw my spine back. Pulling my hands into my knees to find a little more space here. And coming back up. Okay, we have 3 more crows left. These are the extra credit crows. They're called funky crow. So funky crow is where we have 1 forearm down, 1 hand down. So it's a half baby crow and a half regular crow. So I'm gonna take my left forearm down to the ground. My right palm is gonna be diagonal to my hand, about shoulder distance apart. Some people like their hand to be in the same line as their opposite elbow. I find it more about 70% down my lower arm, okay? And then once again, lifting your hips high enough where you can take the higher arm, your regular crow arm, take that knee into the upper arm, and then lean your weight towards your forearm on the ground until you can bring your elbow or your knee down to that arm. Start to bend the knees, and then lift the feet. And we're gonna do 3 breaths here. Can you smile? Woo! There we go, funky crow. Let's try the other side. Oftentimes the other side's a little bit easier. So left or the right forearm down, the left hand draws diagonal shoulder distance apart. So my left knee is gonna lift first to find my shelf of an arm. Right knee comes down, left toes lift. Once I'm feeling a little bit of stability, maybe the right toes lift. And I'm leaning more to the forearm side. I'm not equally distributed here. And like I said, if I fall, it's right there. No big deal, right? Woo, okay. I believe that was 8 and 9, which means we have 1 more to go. 1 more crow. What will it be? Yes, I'm counting funky crow as 2 individual crows because you know, it's one on each side, so why not? So the last one is a flying crow. And this is the one that I don't know if I'll be able to do. It depends on the day. So we'll try it. I'm a mom, so I'm not recording these over time a million times in a row. I pretty much do 1 or 2 takes and I am done. So we will see what happens here. Let's do a funky flying crow. We're gonna bring the right forearm down. The left hand is gonna draw a diagonal. Downward facing dog legs, okay? Inhale, left leg lifts up, stack the hips. And then bend the knee, drawing the knee towards the elbow. The closer you can get to the elbow, the better. Taking the right knee in, right knee in, right knee in. Oh, yeah, it's not gonna happen on that side. Let's try the other side. Maybe my other arm is stronger, so my left forearm down, right hand down, downward facing dog. Lifting that right leg up, stacking the hips. Draw the knee to the elbow. The closer to the elbow, the better. Lean your weight forward, lean your weight forward, lean your weight forward. Maybe the kick fit. Woo, 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 woo. There we go. That counts. So cool. Maybe you were able to float for 10 seconds. I count my microsecond. So let me know how you did, what pose you made it to, whether it be baby crow. Maybe you felt like crow crunches were where you were good at today. Those still count, believe me. The crow crunches are exhausting and they really help you build the foundational strength for you to hold crow in the future. So before I leave you, wrist circles, reverse direction. We want to take care of our wrists. Arm balances and handstands, anything upside down. We want to be super gentle. Taking the 4 fingers, pulling them back, switching. Thumbs, other thumb, bending the elbow or the wrist in. Whew. Shake, shake, shake. Flick, flick, flick. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and Merry Christmas.
Hi everybody, I'm Layla. I'm Leslie's daughter.
How old are you?
7.
And what are we gonna do right now?
Crow.
Crow, okay. So you wanna try to do crow right now for me? And see what's going on?
First you have to stand up.
Well, I don't know if the camera can see you, but yeah, go ahead.
The camera can see.
Can you see us?
No.
You can't see us?
I could only see Mama.
Oh, you can't see her head?
First you have to stand up, then you crouch down. Put your butt kind of like in the air. And then you have to try getting your hands on the floor, try using your hand grip really good, and then slowly get, first get 1 foot off the ground, see if that's okay, and then try try both.
Claw the ground. Lift the hips. Yes. Lift the hips. Yay! Good job!
I don't like that.
High five. Which one do you like? You like Bougie Padasana. So she's going to show you Bougie Padasana.
I do Bougie Padasana. Hi guys. I usually do, so hi guys. I usually
Nara, please, you can do that next.
I usually stand up. Then I usually start to get down on my feet, put my feet like in this. If like sometimes you can sit in this in like your class and feel like a kid. I would sit like this. And then I usually I usually sit on the floor like this, like put my head on the ground almost, but not exactly. Then I kind of put my hands at the edge of the rug, but we want them to be like basically a short distance. Shoulder distance. shoulder, shoulder, distance, and then you're gonna have to like put it right here and
Whoa,
lift your feet
girl.
up.
Can you straighten your legs? Toes pointing towards the camera. Yes, that's called firefly.
That's firefly.
Can you do crow? Here, Layla, let's try to do crow, and I'm gonna help you. So face me, put your hands right here. Okay, now bring your knees up here. I'm gonna help you. Okay, ready? Lean forward towards me. Lean forward. Bring your toes to your butt. Keep pushing your arms from the ground. Look at you doing crow. Good job. High five. Yes.
Wait, let me see. And now my sister's gonna introduce Cowie.
And now your turn. You wanna do crow with mommy?
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Hold on tight. You got me?
Yeah. Hi guys.
Look at the camera.
Give me.
Layla, could they see her or no?
Oh.
You want to do crow, Bubba? You want to do crow? Yes.
Hi guys. Ow. Yeah, real. Yeah, Cowie. What's his favorite color? His favorite color is black.
You know we never did your birthday interview.
White.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's do it.